Tell me about this picture.
This is my classroom that I taught from for most of my 32 years while teaching at Stanwood High School.
Was this your only classroom?
No, this would be considered the classroom. Church Creek would be considered the lab, and we spent much of our time with classes at certain times of the year down working in the stream on different projects, including water quality, insects, fish counts, pollution. The classroom was unique. I don't know of any other classroom that had a shed where every one of them students had a pair of boots, either hip boots or what we call barn boots or knee boots. So when we go to the stream, there's no excuse because your footwear wasn't right.
Tell me more about Church Creek. Why did you go there?
It was the only creek in the area or stream that we could use, and it was quite a nice example. The fish have always been in Church Creek. There's two kinds, the coho salmon, which are very popular and well known both to sportsmen and to naturalists, and also cutthroat. They are both natives, and we have never, to the best of my knowledge, used any hatchery fish in Church Creek, other than some chums that were used for experiment.
Tell me why you took kids out of the classroom instead of staying inside.
Well, I suppose it was a reward for doing a good job inside, but I enjoy the outside and outdoors very much, and it's a lot more realistic to talk about something when you're pointing or looking at it or got a jar full of water and sediment and etc. than it is trying to look at it in a book. They were going to do water quality, chemical. They were going to do water quality, which involved moving the gravel around a little bit and checking the different insects and identifying them, and also the number of insects. Then we did the width of the stream, the depth of the stream, so we could determine the flow month by month, how much water was going down. And we also did one at the turbidity, determining the amount of soil and etc. in the water.
You dug up an old picture of me that I didn't know existed. What am I holding?
That is called Garbagina fisheye, and it is about a 3-foot long model that some of my creative students decided to make one fall, I guess, when they were picking the garbage up along the stream. So they came back with pails of garbage. We did an outline of a fish, and in there you will find just about everything possible that would be littering a stream, and they glued it together, sealed it all up, and it became quite famous. It was at the Puyallup Fair for about 10 years. State agencies had us make a couple of them for them.
How many students do you think you took to the stream?
I'm sure that it was somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 students were there while I was teaching. Also, one of the rewards is I occasionally get a phone call from one of my ex-students wanting to know how they can improve on their stream down in southern Washington or Oregon or somewhere of this type. It's very rewarding.
You're retired now, so what happens to the project when you're not there every day?
Well, the teachers have continued on with the project to a certain extent. Times change, but they still do a lot of water quality testing, try to help me a lot with the fish counts and things of this type. So the project itself is still ongoing. It has changed a little bit, but so has time.
What about your personal project up north?
Always had an interest in streams, so I spend more of my summer up in northern British Columbia on my ATV and a fly fishing rod, checking out fishing in different very remote streams, which I find very interesting.
What is your hope for Church Creek in the future?
Church Creek, hopefully we've done enough work and got enough people involved that one, it will survive and people will respect it now that they understand it. At the same time, the learning that has taken place with those 1,500 to 2,000 students I work with will also help throughout the country as far as working with natural resources and conservation in the environment.